Two women are about to become the first graduates of the Army's Elite Rangers School. And as CBS's Vicki Barker reports, other branches of the military are preparing to open up similar opportunities.
The Navy now says it is open to accepting women into the SEALs, at least any women who can make it through the training. The Weekly Defense News reports the Marines may also soon allow women to try out for their special forces. The Pentagon's given all the armed services until the end of this year to explain why any combat roles should remain off limits to women, though the Marines reportedly have reservations about allowing women in frontline positions. The Army, Navy, and Air Force are expected to comply. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
You may remember the story of a Tampa Bay area sinkhole that swallowed part of a house and its owner while he was asleep 2 years ago. Fire officials in Seffner, Florida say that sinkhole is reopened and created about a 20-foot gap in what's now an empty lot. The home has not been rebuilt. I'm Peter King, CBS News.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes. By calling now, you can whiten your teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, red wine, or smoking. The Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is available by responding to this advertisement. If lines are busy, try again. Because the Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is exclusive, it's not available in drugstores. Power Swabs was formulated by Dr. Martin Ginniger and whitens teeth with a patented tooth detergent and whitening agent. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. Get it risk-free. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201. Transform your smile into a wow, you look great smile. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
All right, thank you very much, Ken Johnson. As August is rolling along right here, August 19th, 2015, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us for Sports Scene, presented by GJBTV.com. Each week right here from noon to 1 on News Talk 1650. Don't forget sports highlights on NNPSTV.com. And as always, you can listen to the show. Go to TuneIn.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. This is your home for talk radio. Tell your friends about 1650 on Twitter. Go to GJBTV.com. You'll see 4 Twitter handles for me: Greg Bick, Sports Highlight, GJBTV, HROnlineMall.com. Thank you to our military and our first responders. As always, great guest lineup today with my good friend Brian Parsons from WAVY-TV 10. We'll get to Brian in just a few moments, as well as another former WAVY alumnus a little bit later, and we'll talk some chocolate toward the end of the hour with the Royal Chocolate, great candy place in Virginia Beach. Of course, guest lineup presented by finkscarcare.com. Phone line presented by my online mall website, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Over 70 businesses in Hampton Roads where you just click, browse, shop, and visit. It goes right to the person's website. India Palace, Mi Hogar, Dan Eby, Spaghetti Eddie's, Finks, thank you so much for all that you do. NFL preseason right in the middle of things, college football, Major League Baseball right down the stretch. I want to thank again CP Shuckers, MiCasinaMexican.com, and Blue Sushi Cafe as well. We'll come back with Brian Parsons. A lot to talk about in the world of sports. We've had him on Sports Scene. We've had him on Sports Highlights. This is Sports Scene right here on News Talk 1650 each Wednesday 12 to 1. It's 12:07 with Ken Johnson. And don't forget, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer, and alert all the tourists out there as well. Stay tuned. The place for authentic Indian food is the India Palace. They feature authentic Indian cuisine, have a party hall, and do catering and banquets. Open daily for lunch and dinner, they showcase an excellent lunch buffet at their Chesapeake and Virginia Beach locations. Visit their 2 locations at 1437 Sam's Drive in Chesapeake off of Battlefield Boulevard and 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach, and online at IndiaPalaceVB.com. On Facebook, look for India Palace Virginia Beach and India Palace Bar and Grill. Dine at the India Palace today.
When it comes to all things graphic design, one name in Tidewater stands out: Dan Eby Graphic Design. Whether it's a logo, brochure, mailer, or website, Dan Eby takes on your project with one thing in mind: creating stunning, eye-catching designs that make your phone ring and help grow your business. Call today for your free consultation, 237-5194. That's 237-5194. Or see their work online at daneby.net. That's DANEBY.net. Dan Eby Graphic Design. They make your business stand out.
Good Italian food, daily specials, and a place people enjoy is Spaghetti Eddie's. Indulge in your mouth-watering pizza, pasta, subs, salads, appetizers, and desserts. Open 7 days a week. Log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com and visit them at Taylor Road and on Eden Way North in Chesapeake for lunch and dinner. Like them on Facebook. Italian food you can count on is at Spaghetti Eddie's. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Hey, Kenny, you gotta love popcorn, right?
A little flash in the past, a little hot butter popcorn. Every time I hear this, I remember the first show they had at Busch Gardens in the theater over in Hastings. And it was kind of a music show with some puppets and things, and they had people dressed as big popcorn kernels or something dancing across the stage while this thing played. It's strange, the things you remember.
Oh, yes. Let's welcome our featured guest today, Brian Parsons from WAVY Fox 43. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Always good to see you. Let's talk about your background, of course. Old Dominion graduate. And, Brian and I go back a long ways. His brother Tim and I have done radio before on a station out of Franklin, and Tim's done a lot of radio himself over the years. Tim grew up in Newport News, but your entire family pretty much has been in broadcasting.
Yeah, it's definitely in the genes, I guess you could say.
Well, let's talk about your brother Dale. First of all, he was really big in this market as well as other markets.
Yeah, he was here. Ken obviously worked with him, as we've talked about, and he was at WTAR and WGH, and then went up to New York City, and then now he's in Hawaii.
Must be nice.
Maui. Hana region of Maui.
Exactly. A lot of fun.
He needed that kind of vacation after having to deal with Wolfman Jack and Super Sales and Dom and Dream Team.
And Howard Stern.
And Howard Stern. All at the same time in the same... Can you imagine?
I cannot.
Oh, my
Yeah,
Lord.
before internet radio, before satellite radio was, was really big back then. As we're talking to Brian Parsons. Brian, just talk about how your job has changed from producing to anchoring. You guys do such a great job, you and Bruce and Nathan, correct?
Yes.
That it's evolved a lot since even the 90s when you first got there.
I think the biggest change for me that I've seen on a day-to-day basis is the transition from, physical cassettes and tapes and rolling on feeds. And now everything's digital. Everything's on demand. Everything's a click of a mouse. I feel like as far as editing, it's like it was more of a taught skill back in the day when you're editing and from tape to tape with a machine that you had to get trained on, and now 6-year-old kids are editing videos on their iPhone.
Yeah, and everybody's got a YouTube channel as well. I was talking to Brian Parsons. This is Sports Scene live in the studio is Brian Parsons. And it was almost like the internet. You guys can all attest to this, the listeners as well, that, we went to school, we might have taken a computer class here or there and done word processing, whatever, but the internet kind of just dumped on everybody, and we all had to learn without any formal education, and it's evolved into being so much now.
Yeah, I think it was like the wild, wild west when it first started. I mean, with, we remember Napster?
Dial-up.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, it's... it's the way of the world.
It is. It really is. All right, let's talk some sports right here. Of course, a lot going on.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about, first of all, the summer stuff. Orioles and Nationals both struggling. It seems like there's not a whole lot of urgency with the Nationals.
I disagree on the Orioles struggling as much, but the
5 out.
Well, I think they got the wild card right now if it were to end right now. One of the wild cards. But the Nationals are in a mess right now. I mean, since the All-Star break, they're one of the worst teams in baseball since the All-Star break. And this is a team that people thought were going to be World Series contenders, but, I think teams have figured out you don't have to pitch to Bryce Harper right now because nobody else on the Nationals can hit.
Or pitch for that matter, and really, I was talking about this too as well to Phil Wood. We had him on from Masson a few weeks ago. That the locals from this area, the Uptons, Zimmerman, Kadire, especially Kadire and Zimmerman, their whole injury career has plagued their entire tenures at their teams they've been at. Especially poor Kadire, he is sustained, yes, but is hardly able to play a 162 game season.
It's a grind, man. 162 games. I call Michael Kadire the godfather of Hampton Roads major leaguers. I mean, and look at David Wright. David Wright's played a handful of games this year, and he's been diagnosed with stenosis, which ended David Wilson's career, a football player from Virginia Tech. So these guys, I think baseball is just one of those tough sports. 162 games. I mean, you're playing 6-7 days a week. It's a grind, and not. I think what we're seeing. I think we're seeing these guys, some of our local guys, come down to earth a little bit because I think you see a lot of players don't make it through the 162 every year, maybe most.
It's amazing that Cal Ripken never missed a game in all that time. And you mentioned David Wright. That's an interesting story, too, because Wright's body has gone through so much. Sure, he's still young, but he's got a lot of wear and tear. And people don't underestimate the travel involved, whether it's the buses or the airplanes, whether it's luxury or not, just your body in and out of time zones and travel, like you said, plus spring training. That's a lot. It's taxing.
That's a tough gig, man. That is a tough gig.
All right, Tides right here are part of the Orioles. Exciting, yes. It's an activity for the summer to do, but how much more can the Tides evolve from a fan perspective when they're competing against so much, especially the Virginia Beach oceanfront? People always tell me, what's the biggest competition for any sports during the spring and summer? I'll say it's strictly right there on Atlantic Avenue, the most beautiful beach to me in the Mid-Atlantic.
Well, if that's your thing, yeah. Here's the thing. Interesting thing about the Tides is Harbor Park's not new anymore. Harbor Park is older than Met Park was when it got torn down, which is hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of some of these new minor league ballparks. It's one of the oldest ballparks in the International League now, believe it or not. And to me, I think I've said it on your show before, Greg. To me, Harbor Park is the biggest bar in Norfolk. And I think people could leave the games and not have a single clue as to what happened in the game. Maybe they saw a home run. That's cool. They saw Riptide fall off of his ATV, which he seems to do at least once a year. And to me, it's a night out. It's a night out. You're outside. You're with your friends. You have a couple of beers. You get a hot, juicy sausage, and you watch some baseball. I do think the interesting part of this relationship with the Orioles and the Tides is that, to me, it feels like it's one big team. And you never know when Buck Showalter is going to need a pitcher to come. Tyler Wilson, who went to UVA and is from Richmond, call him up. We need you for a spot start, buddy. He gets his start, and then he goes right back down to Norfolk. And I love seeing the interchangeable parts between the Orioles and the Tides. I think it makes it more interesting to be an Orioles fan. But I just don't think the wins and the losses on the field really matter that much to the average fan.
You don't think it matters what team it was, the Mets? To me, I enjoyed the Mets as a kid. And, of course, the Orioles are closer by. I know my younger sister works a lot of Orioles games as a stage manager there, and she loves, the proximity from her house in White Marsh, of course. But here, I think the Mets still had a lot of fans from the Hampton Roads area.
Yeah, but I think there's always been a lot of Orioles fans here. Ever since the Admirals have been around, when they do the national anthem, And when they get to the O part, the crowd chants "O" like they do at Orioles games, and I don't think they do that at everywhere in the country. And I think that's because there's a lot of Orioles fans here. I mean, I know it was a long, long time ago, but I remember in '83, I was a little kid, but when the Orioles won the World Series, that seemed to be like a kind of a pretty big deal down here. Don't you remember that?
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, Cal Ripken, always a big part of the Orioles. His father, his brother Billy Ripken, and, Brooks Robinson. You go on and on with the tradition the Orioles have. And, they're fun. They've, of course, things have transcended since the Nationals gotten there as well for them.
There's a lot of National fans in this market as well, no question.
Well, let's talk more about what's going on here coming up as well. Before we talk about college football, NASCAR coming back to Richmond in a few weeks. But how about the minor league football? Isn't there a Crusaders team here as well?
I don't know much about it. It's semi-pro. It's
another activity to cover in Hampton Roads too as well. All right. Well, NASCAR. Ricky Rudd was from this area for a long time. What is your opinion about the state of NASCAR? Again, my only thing about the Richmond race in the fall is, Brian, that they're competing against a lot of football, a lot, high school, college, TV, and it really is a difficult time, and they're not getting the attendance they used to. The spring is perfect. September is not.
The thing about the September race, though, is Richmond's in the unique position of having be the last race before the Chase playoff format that they have. And I asked Dennis Bickmeyer, the president of Richmond Raceway, and would you rather have a race in the Chase, or would you rather have the last race before the Chase? And he was, without question, the last race before the Chase. I think NASCAR is fine. I think it's all about perspective. In the late 90s, early 2000s, it crested. They expanded the tracks too much. It got really big, really fast. Excuse me. And now I think it's kind of come back down to reality a little bit. When a track has 150,000 seats and there's 50,000 empty seats, there's still 100,000 people there.
Talking to Brian Parsons from WAVY-TV 10 Fox 43, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Don't forget sports highlights on NNPSTV.com. Go ahead, Brian, while you got a chance to promote all of the sportscast as well as your social media too. And what are you're still kind of somewhat new on Twitter, but your thoughts about the whole social media aspect?
Oh my goodness, it's hard to keep up. Twitter is BPAR at BPAR73. I need to figure out how to get something a little more easier there. And on Facebook, we have Wavy Sports Wrap on Facebook, which was we kind of post some of our videos and stories and things of that nature. And we do a 3 nightly sportscast. We get a whopping 3 minutes at 6 o'clock, and then we get 10:45 to 11 on Fox 43, 15 minutes. And then another 3 minutes at 11 o'clock.
That's almost
the 20 minutes of live content a day.
Right, that's almost a full-time job. That 15-minute sportscast 7 days a week, and we do a 30-minute show at Newport.
Almost.
Yeah, it is. I mean, besides the Wavy is what I'm talking about. During the evening, and in some TV stations, I believe one of your competitors, we won't mention the channel, they've really distinguished sports as far as extinguished it.
Channel 3.
Yes, of course. The reporters that come and go, it seems like, we've talked about it here, that Wavy seems like a staple, but you remember back in the day that a lot of reporters stayed. You look at some of the channels now, Brian, and of course you're solid, Bruce is, the anchors are, but so many, especially at the other channels, not yours necessarily, and even in other markets too, that there's a lot of revolving door.
It is. I kind of think it's always been that way. Here's the situation. At least for Wavy, I can speak for Wavy and Fox 43. We're not a starter market for on-air people. You're not going to get a reporting job at Wavy right out of college. So chances are, the people that are hired by Wavy were in a smaller market, let's say Burlington, Vermont. Okay, so they do their time in Burlington, Vermont. Then they sign what is normally going to be the case, a 2 or 3 year contract with Wavy. They do that. They come here. They cut their teeth. They apply for other jobs. They're not from here. They have no ties here. So they apply for jobs in other markets, and they're always trying to move up that chain because the bigger the market, the bigger the paycheck.
True. Always true.
And again, I can't emphasize the fact that they don't have any ties here. They're not from here.
Right.
A lot of these people that are moving up the ranks.
Yeah, you and I grew up here. We love this area.
Right.
I love the beach. I mean, people say, what are your activities that you like to get away from sports, the network stuff during the fall, winter, spring, and summer. I love to fish right there at Lynnhaven Fishing Pier, and I love the ocean front. And to me, that is a big reason why I've stayed in this area. I love the water.
Yeah, whatever it is that keeps you here. I mean, you look over at Wavy. I mean, Chris Reckling is from Virginia Beach.
Right.
I'm from the area. Nicole Livas is from Virginia Beach. Jason Marks, a reporter, is from Virginia Beach, grew up in Virginia Beach.
And he married a girl from another TV channel.
Yes, he did. He married from Channel 3.
And Nicole and I went to college together.
George Mason.
Yes, we did. The school that Old Dominion had a lot of issues with in the past. Speaking of which, let's talk about Old Dominion. Bobby Walter, of course. And you and I are good friends. We've known each other for a long time, but we can agree to disagree. Now, if there's a lot of pressure, he's got to play tougher teams now. They're evolving. He's not as visible and outspoken as he was back in 09 and 10. I'm just saying you don't see as much as you used to. I think he's a little bit more reserved. He doesn't have the quarterback going into the fall. He just lost another player as well, too.
Yeah, Melvin Vaughn, tight end out for the season.
What are your thoughts? I think he's done an A1 great job. I had to give him a report card from day one before he got even coached the game. I will give him a 95. But there are going to be some alumni that have expectations. They're not playing Chowan anymore, for God's sake, that they expect him at least to go 7-5. 6-6 was a stretch last year because they struggled so much toward the end, but they improved during the closing part of the season.
But it was their first season in Conference
right.
USA.
Now, what are your thoughts, though, if he does have losing records, let's say, the next 5 years? I'm putting you on the spot here.
I don't want to forecast 5 years ahead of time, but I can tell you this. I got to believe that he has he's got a very loose leash for the next couple of years. He could go 0-12 this year, and trust me, it would not even come up for him to be on the hot seat at all.
And the only reason I say that is because you look at one of the most successful coaches in the Mid-Atlantic was Wendy Larry. And she had a leash, too, as well, but that did not last. And you think if anybody deserved that, it was Wendy. And, of course, she went on to the A-10. I think she's moved on as well. But, coaches with TV, with media, with Internet are under a lot more pressure now, just ask Urban Meyer, than they used to be.
For sure. You bring up the Wendy Larry part. When she was still the head coach, Bruce did an interview with Wood Selig and asked Wood Selig, the athletic director at Old Dominion, the state of the women's basketball team and about Wendy Larry, and he said, well, Wood is a straight shooter. And Wood said, we need to get a better return on our investment. And I thought, wow, man, the camera's rolling. Does he know the camera's rolling when he just said that? And, very poignant statement. Wendy Larry had a pretty good contract. She made a lot of money. The fans weren't going to the games anymore.
Are they going now?
The women.
Okay, yeah. And I went. Okay, see, put you on the spot. I went to school with, a lot of the alumni, of course, and I know them, and from different high schools and so forth.
I think Karen Barefoot's going to do I think Karen Barefoot. Right. They need to give her a chance to turn that around.
Yeah, she's a great personality. I interviewed her on TV way back in '94. And of course, she coached the apprentice school too, talking to Brian Parsons. We got Ken Johnson in the studio. Don't forget what teased me off. We got highlights. We got our business spotlight scenes. Brian's going to stay the entire hour with us as well every week right here, Wednesday, 12 to 1 Sports Scene. Don't forget GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link on the homepage for archived shows. And Brian, of course, when I used to work at the game, we had to move on. And, of course, this platform here from noon to 1 has worked out well for everybody. And, of course, it gives people a break during the week.
Sure, hey, noon hour, lunch hour. It's not the lunch hour for me, though, considering I don't get off work until, 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. But,
right.
We work long days in TV,
You work 24/7. Speaking of lunch, you got to love the phones and the technology now. Brian, you just got to love it, my friend. A local's tradition is CP Shuckers with locations in Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. Monday night is wing night and shrimp night. Tuesday is crab leg night. Wednesday, of course, at Shore Drive, Chef Leon has his delicious bar bites. Saturday, wear your college team and get half price on all the pitchers. They showcase the SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12 networks, and all the college and NFL games. Like both locations on Facebook and log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Go by and see Matt, Mark, and the wonderful staff. Really great. And sports bars are a lot of fun.
Let me ask you something. So,
yes.
so are you insinuating that Bobby Wilder's should be on the hot
seat? Not at all.
seat?
But that was a good point. And even you agreed about the Wendy Larry thing. She had a lot of tenure, more so than Bobby Wilder. I love Bobby. I did one of the first interviews with him on our program before he got the job. I said he gets a 95. He has an A. I said 5 years down the road because it's going to be difficult playing North Carolina, Virginia Tech, and some other schools as well. The schedule is going to get more difficult than playing Chowan.
Well, yeah, but it is a transition season.
Right.
They're still in year 2. I don't know what the number is, but they're one of the youngest college football teams in the country. They don't have hardly any seniors. He's just catching up with these kids that are being recruited to be in Conference USA. Like that transition year, when the year of the North Carolina game, with all due respect, they were playing a third-string defensive back as a linebacker against North Carolina. They played 3 ACC schools that year. Wilder didn't sign up for that. He signed up to play James Madison and Towson, not North Carolina and Maryland.
And I'm not going to document the story. We talked about it on this show about him stopping in the middle of the game and saying, look, we're not there yet. If he did that on Fox, though, I'll say this, working for Fox, the network, or CBS, or ESPN, probably might not have happened, though. He did that on a regional telecast. Of course, times have changed, but that would have been can you imagine telling that to the networks? Sorry, why is the game delayed? Not whether, we're just not there. Bo, Woody.
Well, I don't think he wanted 100 points scored on him.
Right.
This is my theory. I'm not in his head. And he was losing players left and right, kids that had surgery after these games. They were dropping like flies. It was the attrition whittled them down to hardly anything. Those kids weren't recruited to play against North Carolina, Maryland, Pittsburgh, East Carolina in one season.
Right, but how about when they were playing Howard, doing the reverse thing that Carolina did to them? All right, we're going to get back to
a very valid point.
Exactly. They did the same thing to Howard. So Brian agrees with me in the end. All right, stay tuned right here. We got Ken Johnson with news, of course, CBS News. We'll come back with Brian after this.
Not a lot going on in traffic today, which is a good thing, so I'm not complaining. Just a reminder about the downtown tunnel eastbound single lane closures overnight and alternating lane closures in the midtown tunnel overnight, with an eastbound downtown tunnel closure scheduled for this weekend, unless, of course, they cancel it like they did last week. Mix of sun and clouds today, possible isolated showers or thunderstorms, which is a fancy way of saying, hey, it might rain. High of 86 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms tonight, a low of 74. Scattered thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 88 degrees. CBS News is next. Stay tuned for more of Sports Scene right here on AM 1650. It's 1231.
CBS News update. Former Subway sandwich spokesman Jared Fogle has appeared in federal court in Indianapolis on child sex charges. CBS's Paula Reed.
According to court documents, Fogle possessed child porn produced by an employee of his charitable foundation. He also paid for sex with minors on several occasions, including 2 encounters at the Plaza Hotel and the Ritz-Carlton in New York City.
WHKT reporter Russ McQuaid was in the courtroom.
You have the charges and the plea agreement arrayed in front of him. It's very polite, obviously. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor, as he agreed that he was entering into this freely, and he admits what's in this plea agreement.
The actual plea comes later. Prosecutors want at least 12 and a half years in prison and restitution to 14 victims. Fogle's wife has released a statement through her attorney's office and says she's ending their marriage.
My focus is exclusively on the well-being of my children. Neither I nor my family will have any further comment on the matter.
CBS News Update. I'm Peter King.
People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com. The place for authentic Indian food is the India Palace. They feature authentic Indian cuisine, have a party hall, and do catering and banquets. Open daily for lunch and dinner, they showcase an excellent lunch buffet at their Chesapeake and Virginia Beach locations. Visit their 2 locations at 1437 Sam's Drive in Chesapeake off of Battlefield Boulevard and 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach, and online at IndiaPalaceVB.com. On Facebook, look for India Palace Virginia Beach and India Palace Bar and Grill. Dine at the India Palace today.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com Marketplace Pages.
And the marketplace pages are all going to evolve. Go to HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com, browse, shop, visit. A lot of exciting stuff going on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Take a look at it 7 days a week, 24/7. For you, click the image, goes right to the website. And that's something interesting, too, that the three of us are here, that this market pretty much, that the locals, the people that sustain, Ken and I used to work together at another news talk station. Brian's brother and I, Tim, did play-by-play in color for a station out in Franklin, even before I knew Brian, that everybody in this market, one time or another, the people that are still on the air, that is, have got good relationships, get along with people, and pretty much know everybody that from radio, TV, or the electronic media.
Yeah, it's a tight-knit little community, tight-knit group, and I think everybody at some point that's in the media has done radio of some sort, whether it was college radio or something, right?
Yeah, radio is so fun and instant. That's what I love about it. It's so relevant with the social media age and TuneIn.com. Don't forget to shop on the marketplace sponsors of HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Save the date each Wednesday from 12 to 1 for Sports Scene. We got our business spotlight scenes coming up. What Tees Me Off, of course, GJBTV.com for great content as well. Want to thank Sonny Dirth from the Daily Press for plugging our football schedule this fall on NNPS TV. Great guests like Brian Parsons. And, of course, archive guests. Go to GJBTV.com. Simply, folks, just hit that YouTube link. And like Brian said, everything is pretty much just touch and go now.
It's all there, man. It's all at your fingertips.
All right, Old Dominion schedule before we get to our business spotlight scenes. Starting off on the road, then taking Norfolk State, NC State, Appalachian State. Pretty first tough 4 games.
It's a very they start on the road at Eastern Michigan, which is traditionally one of the lower ranked FBS schools in the nation. Old Dominion beat them, I think, 17-3 last year at SB Ballard Stadium. Norfolk State. The last time they played Norfolk State, they needed the field goal at the buzzer to win the game. Old Dominion did. Mm-hmm. And then NC State, that's obviously going to be a very tough game. And then Appalachian State, who, like Old Dominion, transitioning from FCS to FBS, 1AA to 1A, if you will. And they were one of the best teams in the Sun Belt Conference last year. So it's going to be a long season. It's still a transition. They're not quite. They haven't gone through a full recruiting cycle. And I don't think you could really judge them until they do. They have a rookie freshman quarterback. You look at like 2017, they played Virginia Tech and North Carolina. North Carolina comes to Norfolk. I think that's kind of like they're kind of positioning maybe a little bit for a couple of years. This could be a long season for Old Dominion
This
football.
is still a dry run. And even, Wood said it's going to take a few years. I mean, this might not be the year. Last year they got 500. That was excellent.
They had an NFL quarterback, too.
But they'll have the depth. Now, the one thing they have not done well is defense.
Well, the defense did kind of come on pretty good last year for the last 3 games, and I'm not going to avoid the elephant in the room. Obviously, the defense was a serious problem for several years, but the last 3 games, when they won their last 3 games, and the defense did step up, but interesting thing, too, is they won the last 3 games of the season, and they did it by controlling the clock, by, hey, let's run the ball a little bit. Let's burn some time off the clock. Let's keep our defense off the field. And it wasn't that quick strike, boom, 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 where the defense kept having to go onto the field. And Wilder has gone on record as saying that there will be more ball control, running the ball, tight end sets, more like the Old Dominion team from 2009, not the Taylor Heineke years where they're putting up 60 points a game.
We'll talk some more sports with Brian in just a few moments. Even Virginia, who's on the hot seat, is Mike London against UCLA the first game. That's not going to be easy. Then they take on in the same month Notre Dame. It's not going to be an easy schedule.
Boise State. They may lose to William and Mary. They did in 2009.
Right, exactly. One of you mentioned Appalachian State. I remember I drove the old game truck working a game there several years ago back in 2008, all the way to Boone, North Carolina, and at that show they filmed one of the Mountain Men scenes near Boone, North Carolina. I felt like I really was way out there. I'm talking, that's a Bigfoot country out there. But anyway, then one of Coach London's...
They have a lot of bears out there.
Yeah, one of Coach London's last games was against Appalachian State when he coached Richmond. All right, Ken, we'll take a short break. We'll be back with Sports Scene live on the radio on 1650. TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT on your phone or your computer.
When it comes to all things graphic design, one name in Tidewater stands out: Dan Eby Graphic Design. Whether it's a logo, brochure, mailer, or website, Dan Eby takes on your project with one thing in mind: creating stunning, eye-catching designs that make your phone ring and help grow your business. Call today for your free consultation, 237-5194. That's 237-5194. Or see their work online at daneby.net. That's DANEBY.net. Dan Eby Graphic Design. They make your business stand out.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Alex, baby, wait for me. And then I see you invited your old babe. And look at her. She looks like mess like you do. Her dress is as tacky as your suit.
That's right. That's definitely right.
I see why you guys were together. You make a real good couple.
Ken, nostalgic music. Did you ever play that at K94, Ken, back in the day?
But it was the rhythm of the city, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Of the city.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Greg Bicouvaris live on the radio with my good friend Ken Johnson, of course, and Brian Parsons. Oh, I just gave it away. This is WAVY Alumni Day, as we're talking to Judy Triska, who worked at WAVY for, 3 decades, Judy? Judy? Ken, we got Judy on? Judy, are you there? How are you?
I am just fine. How are you doing today, Greg?
So we got WAVY Alumni. We got Brian Parsons in the studio with us today.
Hey, Brian.
Hello, Judy.
Very good. Judy, first of all, Virginia Living Museum, of course, the final few weeks of the Frog exhibit.
Absolutely. We're coming down to the end of the summer, and our frogs will be with us up until September the 7th. Those are our frogs, A Chorus of Colors. It's our summer exhibit, 70 live frogs from around the world, and they're just fabulous. So if you have not seen our frogs, please come on out and check them out. They won't be here for much longer.
Brian, you going to ask her a question? What does fall mean?
What does fall mean, Judy, at the planetarium?
What does fall mean?
Yeah, I mean, what's going on in the fall?
Oh, in the fall, yes. All sorts of fun things are coming up in the fall. Once we wrap up our summer, then we have our fall native plant sale comes up in September. That's the 19th and the 20th, where we sell all of our native plants in our garden area. We have our kids' classes for science fun for kids age 3 to 8. Those all registration is now open for that. So that means time for kids to come and enjoy all the great science fun that we have to offer in our classes. Mm-hmm. And a homeschool morning, actually, in October, where the homeschool kids can also come and enjoy our classroom activities, labs, planetarium programs, and all sorts of great things. And, of course, you can't say fall without our Night of the Living Museum. That's our non-scary Halloween event on October 17th. So, it's going to start getting cooler. The air is going to tell us there's autumn in the air, and we got all sorts of great things going on.
Should be a lot of fun, of course. Talk about the fall is always a great time, and the Star Party laser nights and the tours are a big deal.
Absolutely. The Star Party, we got some great things going on in our planetarium, our Abbott Planetarium. We have actually end of September, the 27th, we're actually going to have a lunar eclipse. Have you ever seen one of those, Greg?
Not recently.
Oh, well, you can come.
Okay.
For September 7th, starting at about 7 o'clock until past midnight, we're actually going to have our total Luna Sea activity evening. And it's just going to be a great night to stand all night. You can watch a lunar eclipse with us and catch some laser shows in our planetarium.
Hey, Judy, what about memberships?
Oh, members? Well, the exciting thing about our membership, and we're just a great member crew with many families buying in. It's just the best deal ever. But in September, we're actually going to be going mad over our members. Our membership appreciation days are going to be coming, and for 2 weeks we'll be having special activities, discounts, treats, all sorts of things just for our members, designed and catered to them. And we're going to have a culmination with a teddy bear breakfast that'll be on September 26th. So there's so many great benefits to our membership, and we're really going to just take a few weeks in September to really thank our members, and then to entice all those who haven't quite bought into that membership, give them some opportunities to sign up with us, because it's just a great, two visits can pay for itself. So we really encourage anyone who hasn't taken advantage of that it's really the best deal out there.
Yeah, I think it's the best museum on the peninsula, bar none, the Virginia Living Museum. Wonderful. You're such a great girl, too, Judy. Well, how about events and birthdays? Not just for kids, but for everybody, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you go to our website, you'll see all sorts of great things, but the Virginia Living Museum truly is a place to have your event, or host your event or your party. We have birthday party packages. We've become a destination for many weddings. We have a great outdoor venue in our amphitheater where you can hold your wedding, great indoor, rent the actual facility for an evening, for your reception. We can do corporate events, family reunions. It's really becoming a really wild place for people to come and enjoy.
And how about social media and contact information? You're all over the place with the website and Twitter and Facebook.
We try to be. We have a great new look to our website that we've had for about a year now. It's so if you log on to thevlm.org, that's thevlm.org, and then of course we're on a lot of the social medias, Facebook. We're really strong there. Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram. We're everywhere. So we ask you to find us wherever we are, and you'll find so much more about what's happening day to day, and really tie into our community. We want you to connect with us.
And I went to that event, back in the fall of November last year. What a nice day. It was kind of cold outside, but you had those fire type lamps around.
That was our oyster roast, and that is coming up again in November, and it's an outdoor festival where oh my gosh, for a great price you can eat more oysters cooked so many different ways. Do you like oysters, Greg?
I love everything.
Good. Well, you got to come back again. We're glad you enjoyed it last year, and this will be our 4th annual this year, and it's our second to largest fundraiser. So we do have an oyster roast coming up in November that we encourage everybody to check it out. It truly is all you can eat, and an amazing event.
Judy, all the best. Again, leave us with your hours and your phone number.
Yeah, and actually we're 9 to 5 daily now. We used to have shorter hours on Sundays, but now every single day of the week we're 9 to 5, and we're on 524 J. Clyde Morris Boulevard in Newport News, exit 58A off of 6064, and we're so easy to find. We ask you to come on out and check us out, and do come see frogs.
There you go. And stay away from the snakes in the woods, too, right?
Oh, well, they're good.
They're good. They're good indoors when they're locked up, yeah.
Right.
All right, Judy, you stay cool. Say hello to Virginia.
All right, very good. Y'all take care now.
All right, always a pleasure. All right.
Bye-bye.
WAVY Alumni Day.
How about that?
Yeah,
Who would have thought?
Sometimes you see Leanne Rain. Sometimes you see her on TV. You see a lot of former WAVY people doing well in the public information sector, too.
Lori Crouch worked for the city of Norfolk.
Roberts is on CNN.
Right, yeah.
What's her name down in Florida? I was in one movie.
Diana Morgan.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, she was great.
Brain cells are all gone.
In my opinion, Diana Morgan was the best female anchor I've ever seen in this market, ever.
She was, people still talk about her.
They can see her on YouTube.
You're right. Yeah. We've got all the archives, too. WAVY. Everybody talks about Diana Morgan, though. I guess she had that star quality.
Well, she was beautiful, number one, too.
But yeah, I don't think you have that anymore. The star quality, like you used to in local television because there's so much media out there now that, it's just, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'm too close to it.
Exactly. Before we get to more of our business spotlight scenes, talking to Brian Parsons, I want to thank Judy Triska, who also worked at WAVY with Brian Parsons. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. We make this show all-inclusive, catering to everybody right here on Sports Scene every Wednesday, 12 to 1, 1650 a.m. Your home for CBS News, of course, Glenn Beck, Dennis Prager, and, of course, you've heard the Admirals in the past as well. And talking to Brian Parsons right here. All right, Virginia, they are on the hot seat. Mike London.
Well, Mike London's on the hot seat.
Well, the entire team is. They've got to really be accountable and stop making excuses saying next year after the UCLA game already. My mother coached London in high school, and I've been very critical of him when I worked at the game and when I worked here. He has got to stop making excuses, and what he's got to learn how to do is close the game, because most of his quarterbacks are playing somewhere else, including David Watford, who's now playing for Hampton.
Well, Philip Sims in some sort of weird way could have been
the curse
of that program when Mike London had the opportunity to get him from Alabama, who was Philip Sims, who went to Oscar Smith and won a state championship as one of these heralded next great young quarterbacks from the area. I mean, with all due respect, Philip Sims was a bust, and he transferred from Alabama to UVA, and it wrecked the program. London never had a quarterback after that. And another thing that I don't know if I put all this on London, but whoever is the schedule maker for UVA football,
they don't like Mike London.
No, they're not. They don't give him a chance. I mean, in the past few years, playing Oregon, playing Stanford, playing UCLA, playing USC, playing BYU. What's the point of playing these West Coast schools when I kind of prefer the model that Virginia Tech takes, where they'll play that one big game a year, right? Like in Ohio State.
And again this year.
But then they'll play East Carolina. They'll play Marshall. They'll play
James Madison.
Regional schools around the region. Do you really care about UVA playing UCLA in a regular season? I don't know. I really don't.
And especially starting off they did play them, a while back, and played them very close, and they played, Penn State too. But that's another thing, too. I'm really excited, folks. Really excited. Even though I'm an Ohio State fan, my mom and dad got married in Columbus, that Penn State is going back tradition. They're taking the names off the back of the jersey. And you can talk, and one thing I've talked about for years, whether here, other radio stations, TV stations, are the uniforms are the first thing the public sees. Now, we talk about Virginia. The biggest thing about the public there is a lot of people leave at halftime because they're losing already. Yeah, and it's horrible on TV.
The ones that show up, right? I mean,
it's horrible on TV, Brian. You know that.
It's a beautiful stadium. It's a beautiful town, but the product just isn't there. People aren't going to pay and waste a Saturday afternoon for a terrible football team, a terrible product. Right. And that's basically what it's been. I hate to say it. There's a lot of local players that have gone there, but the results just aren't there. It's a results-based business. I mean, I think some UVA fans, the ones that were calling for Al Groh's head, may think, you know what, maybe we didn't have it so bad after all when we had Al Groh.
They get there, it's like just a funk. It just really is. They're really just playing bad.
But the Virginia sports program across the board, with the exception of football, is arguably the best athletic program in the country. They win national championships in soccer and baseball. The basketball team,
lacrosse,
tennis. They just cannot seem to get over the football hump. Oh, back when George Welsh was the coach and they were a top 25 team. And that wasn't good enough for some of the
fans. But when Welsh and Groh, even the former Jets coach, were there, they were drawing better than they are now, though.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, when Welsh was there, they were a top 25 program. They were going to bowl games every single year.
All right.
I bet you they wish they had that now.
All right, we're going to talk about the sweet side of things with Royal Chocolate. This is Sports Scene right here. Greg Bicouvaris, Brian Parsons, Ken Johnson. We'll be back after these messages. People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
When it comes to all things graphic design, one name in Tidewater stands out: Dan Eby Graphic Design. Whether it's a logo, brochure, mailer, or website, Dan Eby takes on your project with one thing in mind: creating stunning, eye-catching designs that make your phone ring and help grow your business. Call today for your free consultation, 237-5194. That's 237-5194. Or see their work online at daneby.net. That's daneby.net. Dan Eby Graphic Design. They make your business stand out.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Bed, stay in bed. The feeling of your skin locked in my head. Smoke me, bro.
All right, back live right here in the studio on Sports Scene at 12:52. A special treat, Brian Parsons from WAVY-TV 10, Fox 43, and doing some filming as well, getting the show right here. Of course, Brian, a great guest who's been on with me on TV, on radio before in the past as well. Ken Johnson at the helm, like always. And let's welcome to our business spotlight scene from the Royal Chocolate, our regular Brenda Tusing. How are you, Brenda?
Hey, I'm great today, Greg. How are you?
Very good, very good. How is the candy business going on right now?
Well, the chocolate business is holding its own. Summer's tough, as we've talked.
Oh, yes.
Chocolate's kind of melty, so it's a tricky time of year for us. But we've had some great events in the store, lots of fun, things for kids to do. We found out by accident that the adults love the kids' events just as much. So we've had a fun summer, and right now we're putting together most of our fall events and, of course, looking ahead to the holidays, which, as a retailer, I know it sounds soon, but it's coming fast.
And, of course, you can see Brenda's link on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. She's got a great website as well, theroyalchocolate.com. You can see her on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. A lot of the women love Pinterest as well, I notice.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And it's a fun spot. I wish I had more time to kind of play with it. It's sort of one of those things that you get involved in and you realize an hour has gone by.
Right. Well, let's talk about the address, the location. Very convenient for the tourists that are listening right now that want to go by and get a piece of candy.
Sure. We are at 164 Central Park Avenue. We are in the Virginia Beach Town Center, not too far from the fountain where most of the evening time free events take place. And we are open 10 to 9 Monday through Saturday and 12 to 5 on Sunday.
There's something for everyone there. And, of course, you're open. Like you said, you're open daily. How about the frozen drinks?
Frozen drinks are spectacular.
Yes.
They really are. We have everything from, the standard vanilla and chocolate flavors. We can add some peppermint. We can make a cookies and cream. But we introduced in August the All Shook Up. It's a little bit of a nod to Elvis, and it has some peanut butter and banana added to it. We've got a mango and a peaches and cream, and I think we have, I've forgotten the other one. But we've got about 3 different, summertime flavors and some fun things that are standards all year long.
It's all on the website. Of course, we'll be talking to you again next week as well as we get closer to Labor Day. And Brenda, always a pleasure. Go ahead and plug your wonderful social media.
We are very active on Facebook. You can easily The Royal Chocolate is on Facebook. Got lots of followers and special offers to our Facebook friends as well. Pinterest, of course, and Twitter, and our great website. Our website's perfect for finding out when our events are, and like I said, we're scheduling things right now. So
here's another one you probably didn't know, that you can, when we archive the shows, you can type your name on the YouTube anywhere and see the interviews and hear the interviews and learn more about the Royal Chocolate. Great job by you and Terry, the staff. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks so much, Greg.
Always a pleasure. Day. You too. All right, Ken, let's get to What Tees Me Off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
Ken, I was at a bank recently, a lady that went to my church, and she was behind me in the line checking me out. And then you have no idea until you turn around and say, "Oh, hello." Really? You know, kind of like checking you out a little bit, see how you operate. Mm-hmm. Of course, being a gentleman like I always am, okay, can I ask for my cash back at the bank? You know those types.
Oh, yeah.
Traveling to go see friends out of town, and they aren't prepared for your visit. Like, why are you here?
I've never had that happen.
Okay.
You do let them know you're coming, right?
Yeah. Getting a nice meal at lunch, Ken, you know that you and your family going out to eat or dinner, and the person lunch next to you looks better than yours.
The grass is always greener.
Entree envy.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Ken, waitresses that are too busy or preoccupied.
Oh, that happens more and more, unfortunately.
Brian, you know these. I'm sure you've seen these before. Energy drainers. People add nothing to a conversation like wallflowers or better yet, wallpaper. Congressional districts that are always constantly, Ken, being realigned.
Well, they're supposed to be congruous and... what's the word? There's a couple of words, and none of the districts are anything like what they're supposed to be.
Right. Fellow TV anchors, you got to love this one, especially at the network level. Now look at this, like on Good Morning America, when they all have to shift eyes to the weather girl, they all pretend like they're looking at it, and as soon as the camera's off, you know they're doing their thing. Well, they have to, though. Adult kids who don't know when to leave the house yet. Guests that overstay. How about this one, Brian? Motorcycles, you see this on the interstate all the time, that have to wave to other motorcycles while we're driving.
Oh, man, they got that common bond, man.
Yeah.
But don't take your hands off the steering wheel or the handlebars or you're going to crash. Come on.
Players on the same team like Geno Smith that got in a fight. And, of course, the player went to the Bills. Rex Ryan picked him up. But it does take two to fight.
Yeah, it's true.
Takes two to argue as well. Contractors that have to bring a family member with them while they're working on your house, Kenny.
Oh, dude, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was like this girl was painting my house, and I had to bring a tag along.
Really?
Yeah, and the guy didn't care, and she didn't care, but it's just like he had nothing to do.
You didn't have to pay for the babysitter.
No, God. Okay. No. Anyway, that is Sports Scene, of course, folks. I want to thank our great guests. Brian, thank you so much.
Oh, Greg, thanks for having me, Ken. Great to see you again.
Good to see you too, brother.
As well. All right, Brian Parsons right there. Of course, Judy Triska and Brenda Tusing right there. For more, go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link powered by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. For Ken Johnson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris.